Hello. So yeah, it's been a while since I've come on a cam and given out a video, but then this really couldn't stop me from doing that. So today I'm very happy that I learned to blink an LED on my ANCIT Open ECU, and then the idea was to send out a CAN message using the ANCIT Open ECU. And I've been always hearing it from my interns and some of the associates who work at ANCIT that every time we learn to blink an LED, and when we pass it on to somebody else, he finds it very difficult to learn it all over again. And for us as automotive ECU developers, CAN is our bread and butter. And then we need to know how to send CAN messages day in, day out. So I wanted to make this more easier for everybody. So we've now come up with this small gimmick that makes life easy for all developers who work with STM32 to send out CAN messages. So first, um, let's think about what all can you do with CAN. Yeah. So normally, when you learn CAN, right, you want to send and receive CAN messages. Okay. Now, when do you want to send? On start, on message receive, on some event, or cyclic, right? And at the end of doing this, we are overwhelmed and we're very happy that we managed to send a CAN message and receive a CAN message. Then comes the next story, because in an automotive system, we don't have one or two CAN messages. We have hundreds of CAN messages, right? So then comes the complexity of having a DBC file and integrating that into your CAN application that you just built, right? This is master blaster by itself, because I need to know how to convert my DPC into a .h and .c that I can include into my application that I have built already to send out 8-byte CAN messages. And I wanted to solve both of these issues and make it easier for everyone who wants to learn CAN and build applications using CAN, right? So I'm just going to demonstrate a small part of what we've done. It's part of a large use case, but then a smaller version of what we've done, right? So let's just delete what I've already done and tested, right? So I'm just going to, so I've got an LED blinking project here, which has got the CAN configuration. I will show you the IOC file. I've enabled the CAN TX-RX, and I've enabled a switch on the ANCIT board, and I've named it as SW1, right? And now the intent is I just want to configure CAN and send messages, right? So I've designed this ECU simulation block, right? So you can call it as my ECU. And then what you get is a UI like this, right? Which allows you to add CAN messages. So you could come here and add CAN message, saying message ID 100, and I want to send 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, yeah, 8 bytes. So it shows my DLC is 8, and I will just save this, and I'm good to go, right? I've configured a CAN message, and now I want to send this over the CAN bus using my STM32 board, right? So I just select this file, export. I've got the ECU firmware option, right? It tells me that it's going to create this in LED blinking project, and it's for CubeMX. We're soon going to support all these flavors, and then I just click finish, and what you get is a generated code like this. First, it generates code like this, right? So this is typically how you do your STM code. I've not done anything new, right? So I've got a new method called as ANCIT CAN TX message underscore 100. And if you look at the implementation of that, it's on start of the flash of the ECU. It sends out 100, and we had entered a DLC of 8 with the message ID as 100 with 1,0,1,0 over here, and it's generated the code. I could just select this, make a build, successful. I've got my trace software connected. I'm using a software called as TS Master, right? And yeah, let's just clear everything that's not useful to us. Let's put the trace window on. I'm going to flash this program onto my board, just for you to see my board. I've got my board here. Right, and it's flashed. Let's go, and you see the message 100 with 1010101. Right, awesome. So that's typically what all of us know how to do, right? This is something all my interns and all my associates in ANCIT do that very well. Next comes the issue. I tell them that I want to send this message 200 on press of a switch, and I only want to send 1,1,1. So I go to on event and tell them when I press the switch on my board, right? So I save that, and I again generate the code for it. And now if you look at the code, I've got a 100 on start, and then I've got for switch press, whenever the S1 switch is pressed, it's going to send out 200 with DLC 4 and 1111, right? Let's flash that as well. So I make a build, I make a run, I go back to my trace window, and I wait for it to send out. So the new 100 has come, and I now click the button on the board, and I see 200 with 1111. Awesome. Look at the minimum amount of code that I had to write to do all of that. And then comes the third use case. I want to respond 300 every time I get a message 400. Right, so I again save, I right click, export, finish, and now look at the generated code. I've got 300 with DLC 6, all of that done well, and it fires on switch press. So whenever I press the switch, or okay, sorry, it's on the RX. So whenever I get a message 400, I respond 300. Let's flash that as well. Go back here, clear this view, wait for 100 to come. Okay. So 100 has come. So on start worked, right? On button press worked, 200. And now I need to transmit 300. So let's do that as well. I'm going to add a message with ID as 400 to get 300. Sorry. And you see that I got 300 back as response, 010101. So I was able to do on start, on message, on event with no coding, making it easy for my interns and my ANCIT employees. And this is also going to be made available to public, right? And you can install this in your STM32 CubeIDE and it works as simple as what I just showed you. But now comes the next big story. Raw messages, everybody says, Malay, we do that very easily. What's so wonderful about what you've just done? So I've gone one level further, and I thought, let's make it more automotive, right? So automotive world always plays with DBCs, right? So the next thing is, can I import a DBC and generate code for it? So yes, you can. I'm importing a DBC here, right? And then I now can add messages from my database. So I'm adding engine status, and now you see the UI, right? It's got the two signals, and now I can actually give values for these signals. And if it's an enum, you also get the option of selecting that, and you save, right? And now you can actually generate code for this as well. You can generate code for this as well. And now when I do an export here, you're going to see the magic that we've built. I've done the export successfully. I've refreshed my folder here, and you see the DBC that you just imported got converted to the .c and the .h file. And if you get into the source code, you will actually see a new message. I'm recording, right? And if you get into this, then you will see that it's now going to send not to the raw data, but to your DBC signals. So we take care of doing all of that. Yeah, and now if I fill this, it works. And now if I flash and go back, it's on start, so it should come immediately. I'm just going to clear this view and keep waiting for 100 and the other message to come. Let me check if it's flashed. It is. Did I make a mistake? Let me just flash again. Let's build again. Okay, that build. Let me flash again. Yeah, you see that. So I've got engine status fired on, and my TS master is able to show that there's a beauty there, and 100. Now let's get a little more fancier. Your dill always wants more. So I add one more, and this time I want to send the engine data, which is a lot of parameters, right? The petrol level, the engine power, the engine force, the engine state, is it running or idle, the engine temperature, the engine speed, right? And I save all that, and I want to do this on the press of the button, right? And then now I just go in and generate this code again. And now if I go in here, that's engine data with all the values that I wanted to assign, and I make a build. Great. And I flash, and I clear, and I wait. Yeah, and I click the button. You see that? So I've got engine data the way I had assigned the values. Wow. Right. If you like this video and you want to use these plugins that ANCIT has built, feel free to write to us to the email ID that's available in the post below, and we will give you access to this plugin for free. Thank you so much. I hope this video did excite you to code more.